In Unit 3, the third topic for chords that we want to write are Plagal subdominants. In other words, four chords. We are going to be able to substitute in 2 6s, so it really involves them as well. So Plagal function, not all subdominants, in other words, not all 4 chords, are predominants. We talked about this a little bit before when we introduced the idea of function and how a particular chord can do different roles, just like an individual can wear a few different kinds of hats. That might be a parent, might be a teacher, as I mentioned. So here's a 4 chord doing not a predominant function, but a subdominant function. a Plagal function, and that's when it moves to a 1. We're used to 4s going to 5, but we're going to scratch that and have it go to a 1 if it's serving a Plagal function. Plagal chords are non-dominants that move to the tonic. Chord that leads to the tonic, although it does not have a leading tone. Instead, it typically has a 6 that moves to a scale degree 5, and often has a scale degree 4 that moves to a scale degree 3 as well. Now, that resolution is going to happen when we move to a tonic, just like it happens when we move to a dominant. So this resolution happens either way. Alright, 2 very typical kinds of things here. When we go 1, 4, 1, we get neighboring motion up above. I am a little bit ambivalent about this, but most people think of it as a Plagal. Think of Plagal as embellishing, and that's right in a lot of contexts. But you know, like the blues will do 1 to 5 to 4 to 1, and there's a lot of folk music that does the same. Grieg's Homesickness, the middle section, is full of this progression. It's a folk-oriented progression, so it fits into the nationalistic movement. Now, in that case, I don't want to say that it's just embellishing tonic. Those are whole phrases that move from a 4 to a tonic. That's a Plagal one, and we have to a Plagal 4, and we have to adjust our phrase model to say, you know, sometimes it does start here. The 5 rather start serving as a neighbor to the 4, and then that is the resolution that brings closer to the phrase. So I would like to say that there are a couple different things that a Plagal chord might do. Yes, it always goes to tonic, but number 1, it can be part of a tonic expansion because of the neighboring motion that occurs up above. 1, 3, let me just show the upper couple. You'll have a scale degree 3 and a scale degree 5 in your tonic. You can return to them here when the tonic comes back, and if we add to the soprano line scale degree 4, it'll be 5, 6, scale degree 6 rather, it'll go 5, 6, 5, neighboring motion in that soprano part. In the alto, 3, 4, 3, that's neighboring motion as well. I can see that as embellishing the tonic through a Plagal chord. Now, here though, number 2, another situation is where it's a full, powerful function, not embellishing, but one of those main function-bearing chords, but it's bearing a Plagal function and pulls you to the final tonic of a phrase. In other words, a full-fledged member of the phrase model in this case, and we have to admit that yes, you do this, tonic, predominant, dominant, tonic, but you can also at times do this where you just go through the Plagal and back to the tonic. Okay, now in this category, the first category I mentioned, where you've got tonic being expanded, there are a whole set of possibilities. Actually, this serves an incomplete neighbor chord. Think of the bass line here. Scale degree 1, scale degree 4, and back to scale degree 3. Over here, the bass line goes 1, 4, 1. Roots are in the bass, so you've got leaps. But now we've got one stepwise connection, and you can use either symbol. Either one is fine. It is an incomplete neighbor chord. The 4 embellishes the tonic that follows, that surrounds it by moving by step in the bass there, 4 to 3. So that works. You could also write Plagal on it. It's 4 moving to a 1/6. At a lower level, you can write tonic is expanded through the use of that Plagal motion. There's one more. Okay, here it is. This is the other one I'm thinking of because it happens so much. Again, it's in the context of a tonic expansion, not a situation where it's the entire phrase. This Plagal motion gets you to a 1/6, so obviously it can't be done. This top voice motion often goes with this chord progression. 1, 4, 6, 1, 6. Write Plagal there under the 4, 6, show that it leads you back to the tonic. And write tonic down below to show that the main chord, the more stable thing in this pattern is the 1. Okay, this is very similar here, these upper voice patterns. We've already talked about these two where you've got 3, 4, 3, 5, 6, 5 scale degrees up above. Either way, you've got neighboring motion above that 4. I'll write it one more time just to make it clear. It's a Plagal 4, but in a larger context, that's an embellishment of tonic, an embellishing chord. Okay, so some real examples follow. Here's Handel's Messiah and the Glory of the Lord. And the glory of the Lord. And we get to this final cadence here, but really there's already been a cadence before this up here. And this is a very typical situation where you've got closure and then Plagal motion follows. But the real job of bringing closure happens here where we go 5 to, where is it? Oh, there it is. I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong spot there. I already wrote those symbols in. There's our closure. Has spoken it. Okay, you're basically done, and then we reiterate text. And there's our 5, 1 in A major. Okay, so let's look at some of this Plagal motion that follows. There's 4 to 1, D, F sharp A, moving to A, C sharp E, first inversion. So that looks like we've gone from 1, there's that 1 rearticulated, 4 back to 1, 6. We've seen that before. That was this one up top here. So it's Plagal. This final tonic is embellished by it. And now we're going to repeat that motion several times. Here's my 4 chord, D, F sharp A again, moving here to a 1, 6, passing tones bring you down to root position 1. This 2 is Plagal then, because it moves to the tonic. And my tonic expansion continues. Look, here it is again. The mouth of the Lord. 4. Back to 1. Here's another 4. D, F sharp A. Back to 1. We've got quite a few of them. All right, Plagal under each. And keep that tonic rolling. Finally, we're going to get a root position 1 here. Here's the 1 chord rearticulated, so that's just more of this 1 going on here. A, C sharp, and E. My 4 chord. Change of bass, but the same chord. New octave for the scale degree 4 in the bass. Back to tonic. So more tonic. This is the kind of 4 that we were talking about up here with this option, 3, 4, 3 above in the uppermost voice. Okay, so we write Plagal and show that tonic is expanded. The embellishing motion being up here. Here's the 3, the 4, and the 3. Important to note that you often have a PAC as we do here, that brings closure, and then this just reiterates, the plagal motion reiterates, hey, I really do mean to come here. I really mean to arrive on this A. It reemphasizes the closure. Just think of the amen cadence at the end of a hymn. It's the same thing. You have the PAC. The amen cadence is optional. Okay, I won't take a bunch of time with this, but here's some other examples of it. This is B, and you're in B flat here. And there's a 4 chord here. Tight score, so it's a little hard to see. But you come back to your 1. Main parts are up here, the oboes. So here's the bass line, B flat. Okay, here we have a bassoon part. Contrabassoon was the B flat. So you could look for the bass line in either one of these parts. And these guys are just doubling, so you could look at just one of them to get the main notes. B flat, D, and F. Okay, so that's tonic. Look backwards to this one, you get your 4 chord. E flat, G, above an E flat in the bass. Okay, and then this is your opening tonic. See the motion up in the topmost part? 3, 4, and back to 3 again. 3, 4, 3, that, we've seen that already. That's a plagal 4. Okay, now here's a very common situation. Let me go quickly through this one as well. Here's your 1 chord. This 5 to 1. C, E, G, just a triad. Let's see if we get a 7th in here. C, E, G. Oh, eventually we do, right there. That's the 7th of the chord, so I can put that in. We've added it. And then the resolution there. 1, 5, 1. More 1. Here's a change. The root, B flat, D, F. Well, if we're in F, that's a 4 chord, but it's inverted, so we need to write 4, 6. Then we get back to our 1, F, A in the bass, and C. So an inversion of 1. This is tonic, dominant, back to tonic. We'll talk about this more later, but when we have this kind of motion and it's too early in the phrase for it to sound like a cadence, we'll put it in parentheses and say that motion is really not a cadence, and that helps us de-emphasize that resolution, put it in context. So we're back on tonic now, and we're moving through the 4 back to 1. So what I can do is say plagal underneath here and show that this tonic continues. Now let's get it to our cadence. 2, 6, 5, G, B, D, F. See the chordal 7th in there, so I need 6, 5 for it. And here's our dominant. 5, 1. Okay, so this is a phrase from way late in Beethoven's Symphony No. 6. And this phrase, which I hope you'll listen to, uses a plagal 4 here in the context of a normal phrase model scenario where we're going tonic, predominant, dominant, tonic. That's the end there. It's an IAC. This context for the 4 gives us 3, 4, 5 in the soprano. And remember, this pattern of 1, 4, 6, 1, 6 usually goes with that melody line. Notice that 4 is a passing tone. So a few patterns to remember. The 3, 4, 3, 4, it could be 5, 6, 5. Often happens over a 4 chord that serves a plagal function. Embellishing tonic. So 2 important sopranos to go with 1, 4, 1. If it goes 1, 4, 6 to a 1, 6, still plagal. tonic is expanded, and the soprano in this case is our 3, 4, 5, scale degree 3, scale degree 4, scale degree 5, moving up. So this is passing motion. This is neighboring motion, here or here, whichever one might occur in the uppermost part. So again, we want to know what's going on functionally. We also want to be aware of the outer voice counterpoint and what kinds of patterns tend to happen. All right, so that covers Plagal subdominant.